champion in the NFC East in forever. But with Washington's loss last night, certainly feels like that's about to. Oh, yeah, Danny, we're talking to you. The Eagles are odds-on favorites. They're the only team in the division with a winning record. The Commanders are terrible. The Cowboys look terrible. The Giants are far too early in their development.
Cardinals aren't still in that division.
That's right. The St. Louis Cardinals. Is this finally going to end?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous about the streak. I really am. I was 2 years ago, by the way, when they started 10-1 as defending champions. So there's still time for something to happen. I just can't put my finger on what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Are the Cowboys going to trade for Myles Garrett?
Oh, please tell me that might happen.
Maybe that would do it. But somebody's got to look. Washington's obviously had a ton of injuries and more losses than they would have expected at this point. The Giants running out of people, and the Cowboys can't stop anybody. So even though the Eagles haven't looked, like the capital E Eagles of last year, they seem to be comfortably in front of a group of teams that doesn't seem super equipped to run them down. I'll believe it when I see it, but I am starting to worry a little bit.
How long have we worked together? I mean, almost about four or 5 years every year. It's just, we just hope the streak gets broken.
The streak is 21 years.
Yeah, but I mean, just us hearing you.
The streak is over, man. The Eagles got it wrapped up because the other three teams are unserious outfits.
Yeah.
Trust me, this one is wrapped up. The Eagles are a very good football team. I think part of their problem is we compare them to who they were last year. They're not. This year's Eagles will get their ass beat by last year's Eagles. However, this year's Eagles is a lot better than the rest of the teams in their division.
I'm saying we're sitting here like in early January and we're like, well, how did that happen? I'm telling you. Then you guys, if it happens this time, you guys will stop doubting it.
Our analytics give them an 86%. That is an overwhelming number. But let's go into what we saw from them the other day. And Jeff, I'm in a moment of seriousness here. The conversation yesterday I thought we had here was very smart. That the Eagles have significantly adjusted their offensive attack. We all know A.J. Brown wasn't playing in this game, but that really was not the point. They have put the quarterback under center so much more, and that has opened up so much more in their offense, and suddenly Jalen Hurts is throwing 4 touchdowns, and Saquon Barkley is running wild again. Do you believe that was the difference and thus the formula for Philadelphia?
Absolutely. But it wasn't just the quarterback under center, which obviously I've been screaming for, but it was also different blocking schemes. Instead of just straight duo or zone blocking, they did some nice pin and pulls, got guys out, getting outside and reaching guys, and you're allowing. They had 8 explosive runs, right, of 10 plus more, which is vital for this team. This team goes and is fed off of Barkley and the running game. Everything else develops outside of it, and it's kind of what we talked about. But again, I'm not here to brag. However, we made a lot of mountains out of molehills on this set about the Eagles. They live in chaos. Last year we had dudes reading on the sideline, coaches yelling at fans, and I'm here for it. I think this is better drama than the Cowboys ever would. I love the energy from the Eagles. They are finding ways, but that win in particular. Now, again, the Giants banged up. Your opponents matter. So I'm not. But however, getting back to what you do, this is no different than for me for the Colts, right? Like the Colts now look to me like the Eagles of last year. But they're playing bad opponents, but they're beating the brakes off of them. That was the best performance from the Eagles, in my opinion, because it showed what they should be. And you got to do it, no matter who it is in the NFL. You got to show up. This same team lost to this Giants team 2 weeks ago.
17 days.
So I was impressed by the win.
And I think to your point, it wasn't just Sunday. It was you lose to the Giants after what they went through the first few weeks. We're saying this team just doesn't look the same. They're winning games. Then you lose that game on Thursday night. You have a 10-day break. And these last 2 weeks, a week ago against the Minnesota Vikings, it was Jalen Hurts throwing the ball all over the field, big plays. Now this week, it's the running game. Saquon Barkley, Tank Bigsby, those guys getting going. So to me, this Eagles team looks a lot better. You said it, though. They love to live in chaos. You brought it up. A.J. Brown wasn't on the field for the Eagles. So now the question mark comes, hey, do they look better on offense without A.J. Brown? To me, that's the part that's still holding them back that they have to figure out because they're going to need A.J. Brown to get to where they want to get.
Why are you
going to need a happy A.J. Brown.
Oh, no, because J-Mac put something on the table that I think is ridiculous.
Which is?
Are they better without A.J. Brown? I know you agree that they are not better without A.J. Brown. He just had the game-clinching touchdown a week ago, and then his hammy started hurting, which hopefully hamstring gets better because they're going to need him at some point. He's one of those guys where, like, you think about it in basketball, like the plays aren't working. ISO. He's a guy like that. throw the playbook out. I'm going to throw the ball in that direction. The chances are something good is going to happen.
And can I say this about the Kevin Patullo, like the offensive coordinator, and getting a little extra time and then putting this in, right?
Yeah.
The reason when you talked about going under center, and we've had this conversation not only for this team but a lot of teams in the NFL, it makes all the angles for the offensive linemen so much better. And what you saw happening, we did a tape on this a couple weeks ago, that linemen, everybody, if the defensive lineman knows when that quarterback is in gun, their angles change. They can't turn the same way. They split gaps. They do things that make it much tougher on the offensive line. When you go under, it changes alignment for defensive linemen. I'm not going to get too, but it matters. And them being willing to do that and make adjustments, for whatever reason they made them, I appreciate, because it's not easy to do.
Right.
One of the advantages they have is they know they have guys that will subvert themselves for the good of the team.
Yes.
And that includes A.J. Brown, by the way. Like,
yes,
this whole thing is not, I want to be a star. It's, I want to help us score more points. So, look, they're obviously equipped talent-wise to beat, especially an undermanned team like the Giants in the secondary. They're missing a couple starters in the secondary. By this week, then it's Packers, Lions, Cowboys, Bears, Chargers. We're going to know.
Yeah.
We're going to know by the middle of December what this team is and what it's not, and whether
this period
that streak lives
also
on.
is a pivotal one for this team because of there was question marks, like whether we want to admit it or not, or all of us want to admit it or not. There was turmoil there. And at that point, the question is, what are we going to change? How are we going to change? Are we going to improve? They came out and responded well. And it was some minor tweaks, but there were conversations, should they revamp the entire offense? And I think these moments like this are the things that build the trust and the relationship between the quarterback, between the quarterback and the coordinator and receivers and all that. Moments like this, when you have a couple of weeks where everyone's on your back, then you come out in back-to-back weeks, put up good numbers offensively through the air, and then get back to big game Saquon. I think that feels good. When they run into rough times again later in the season, they can draw on the experience they had now.
All right, let me make this point quickly, and then we'll save some time to get back to it later when we have more time. But the Giants were very unhappy with several of the calls in that game against the Eagles. They got one terrible OPI called against them in that game. But there also was the abomination that is the tush push, where they ruled this forward progress. Despite the fact that if the quarterback had gotten pushed forward more, they unquestionably would have ruled it. Forward progress seems to end the moment that it ceases to benefit the offense and starts benefiting the defense. Kayvon Thibodeau afterwards, not happy.
He said they called the forward progress before he reached the ball out. So sounds like some to me, but
you didn't hear a whistle, right?
That's the hard part about the tush push. Oh yeah, sorry. I mean, that was a great call by the ref.
It's a great moment. Everything about it great. I'm going to give you my take right now. I have rethought it. Upon further review, that's my favorite call of the year, because that is the call that is going to do away with the tush push once and for all. They can't officiate it. They can't do it. It is the reason they actually changed the rule in the first place 20 years ago. For the entire history of the sport, it was illegal for the offense to push the ball carrier. They changed that because they decided it was too difficult to officiate. They now have to change it back for the same reason. This is an abomination. If this isn't a fumble, nothing is a fumble. And Brian Daboll almost lost his mind, and he was 100% right to be. This doesn't mean the Giants are going to win the game anyway. They weren't going to win the game anyway. But the reality is, even Jeff, the last remaining defender of the tush push, has to acknowledge if that's not a fumble, Jeff, what on earth is a fumble?
I agree with you on that. But my issue is do better officiating. Don't take a play. Do better officiating. If this is every rule in the NFL is really hard. I appreciate what you're saying. Defensive backs have every rule in the NFL written against them.
Right.
We don't go change the rules. We make them operate with their both hands tied behind their back. It is absolutely ridiculous. There is no difference. Learn how to officiate the play. Don't take a play out because you tell me we don't know how to do our jobs. You were paid to do a job, so know your job. Don't be mad at the play call. Be mad at that part.
So it's smart to try to kiss up the DBs to think that you're gonna get my support on the
It's getting close to November.
I think the point is the reason why the rule was changed was not because they wanted to encourage people to push quarterbacks in the tush push. The rule was changed because it's tough to officiate. So I think the spirit of football in the game is we're not going to help push players if you don't allow the defense to do the same thing. Even though they don't enforce offensive pass interference the way they do defensive pass interference.
They did in that game, by the way.
The rule book suggests it gives you the ability to same right to the ball. I think that's the biggest problem is it would be illegal. It's illegal for you to push a defensive player in the back. They call that. It doesn't make sense for us not to be able to do the same thing on defense.
Are they going to get rid of it?
They're going to get rid of it. Look, I mean, it was what, 22 of 32 voted to eliminate it last year, so they were 2 votes short.
Yeah.
I think what's going on with the officiating of that play can get them 2 more votes.
They need the votes. We got to get the votes.
gonna get it.
We need the votes. I can't watch it anymore.
Giving speeches again?
What's that?
Jason Kelsey giving rescue speeches again.
Yeah.
Listen, I love
Fight the
Jason
power, fight the
Kelsey.
power.
Bring Jeff
The
in.
play is an abomination.